Hi, here we're looking at Radar Love by Golden Earring, and the intro is a slower speed to the rest of the track, which is at about 199 BPM. So once those intro accents are out of the way, we get a couple of bars of the new time feel, and then the drums enter with this feel sometimes referred to as a train beat, where we're playing slightly swung eighth notes using single strokes and accenting the backbeat. On the original, it's a little confusing where the drums enter. They actually start on beat 2, and which can throw you a little bit of a curve. But after 4 bars of that feel, the bass drum is introduced like this. Then the hi-hat gradually joins in, stepping 2 and 4, and the bass drum settles into this 2-bar pattern which runs through the first verse. After the 16-bar verse, we head to the bridge after an eighth note triplet fill on the snare. And the bridge is kick, snare, hat. So let's take it from the last 4 bars of the verse. So after that 10-bar bridge, we head to the 8-bar chorus, where it's over to the right cymbal and it sounds like this. So notice we've got that anticipation there, where in the first two choruses, it's not actually crashed, it just stays on the right cymbal. The feel during the second verse is slightly different to the first, and it's for the most part made up of this 4-bar pattern, where we've got a drag at the end of the second bar every time. There's a nice 2-bar figure that leads us into the second chorus. It's made up of 2 3-beat figures before we head down the kit for the last 2 beats. The 3-beat figure features a right, left, left on the first beat. So here's that in isolation. So 1, 2, 3. So once again we play 2 of those. And then single strokes, 2 notes per drum to give us the 2-bar fill. Probably the main feature of the guitar solo is the pseudo mambo feel that starts to get introduced, where you start moving between the high tom and the snare. And it's interesting that actually reverses at one point. So the first time you hear it, the tom comes first on beat 2. But then at the point where the right hand moves up to the bell of the ride, it turns around and the tom goes on to beat 4, like this. Then finally, after a bar of quarter note triplet flams on the snare, we head into the almost the drum feature part of the piece, where we've got this eighth note movement between the toms and the snare, underpinned by the bass drum. The basic pattern is this. So as I say, the bass drum almost plays every note that the right hand is playing on the toms. It's just at the end of that 2-bar phrase that we get this faster 16th note triplet between the bass drum and the floor tom. Is the point where the right hand side doesn't coincide. However, after about 8 bars or so, that settles into a slightly simpler version of that pattern without that faster movement. After hitting the crash that ends that tom section and is held for 2 bars, we get this 2-bar pattern. At that point it transitions into the 2-bar verse feel, which differs from verses 1 and 2 in so much as we stay up on the ride cymbal. The final chorus now crashes the anticipation that we had in the first 2 choruses. And finally the piece ends with 10 bars of 8th note triplet single strokes moving around the kit, crashing the downbeat of each bar. So as I say, we get 10 bars of that. And so I'll just finish up by playing 4 bars of that and we choke the final crash.